Welcome to tonight's event. We're so grateful that you all could join us. If you want to find some seats, I know the third row had been reserved, but that's open. And anybody who's up high can move down. We like a cozy atmosphere for our poets and our performers. Good evening. My name is Kate Martin Williams, co-founder of Blue State Literary. And on behalf of our team, Lulu and Jessica Cole, I just want to say a few thank yous to you all. Thank you for supporting DEEP. Your being here also means that you are here for the arts in Houston, and we are so very grateful that you came out not only to bear witness to what we have going on tonight, but to participate in this radical act of poetry. Thank you tonight to Jane Creighton and the Cultural Enrichment Center of UH Downtown's College of Humanities and Social Sciences. Without her and the gift of her attention and time, this space to showcase DEEP and these artists wouldn't have been possible, so we're very thankful for that. To Jasmine Mendez and Rayla Crawford and the dancers who you're going to see tonight from Urban Soul's dance company. DEEP is grateful for your artistic contribution tonight and of course your friendship. And I know while you're here, I could stand up here and talk about how important DEEP's work is and how much we believe in poetry in her book. But the fact is her poetry speaks for itself. What happens when you support events like this, when you buy books, when you pay attention, is that we all get a little more alive to the world. We all get a little more alive to one another, and that's no small thing. So with that, I'll turn the night over to Jasmine Mendez. Jasmine is a poet, performer, and educator who has been working, writing, podcasting, and community building in Houston for many years. Her gorgeous book of poetry and personal essays published by Arte Publico Press is called Night Blooming Jasmine. Came out last year. You should check that out as well. She, along with Lupe Mendez, co-directs the nonprofit Latino literary arts organization Tintero Projects. We are so grateful to her for hosting tonight's celebration. Please join me in welcoming Jasmine Mendez.
Good evening, thank you. And before we jump into the poetry and the dance and all the great art, we have a couple of individuals that would like to say a few words. And so first I'd like to welcome to the stage Radu Barbachanu. We are privileged to have community liaison from the Mayor's Cultural Affairs Office, Radu Barbachanu. His work for the city includes bringing arts programs and exposure to those who live in cultural deserts via initiatives like the Houston Poet Laureate Program and its partnership with the Houston Public Library. So can you please come to the stage? Thank you.
Hi everybody, Radu Barbachanu here. Thank you so much for the introduction. I am the Cultural Affairs Community Liaison, so what that means, a little bit of everything. Basically anything that touches arts or neighborhoods or communities, it somehow comes through me to help figure out. So one of my favorite things to do is to work with artists who have amazing ideas and amazing projects and help them troubleshoot and figure out and cut all the red tape and make sure that their projects impact community and inspire others to do the same. The Houston Poet Laureate is more than just an honor for a poet who's done amazing work. It's the chance to be an ambassador to the fourth largest city in the nation. The city that has the most diverse population. It's not just having however many diverse individuals, it's having these communities that have such cultural history and depth of identity that this program, this Poet Laureate, is meant to tell those stories a little bit. And I can't think of anybody better besides DEEP to have done that for the past 2 years, to have really looked at all of Houston's communities and neighborhoods and learned more about them and worked with poets citywide to tell the stories of these neighborhoods and these communities, and also to just be an ambassador, a brand ambassador for the city of Houston, all over, to people that came to Houston for conferences, or in Germany, in Leipzig for, I forget what it was, Deep, what was it? Houston Week. So it was just incredible. We had the opportunity to have the best representative I could ever think of represent the city of Houston in the most fascinating and cultural and artsy way that I can't even imagine anybody else doing any better. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank Deep for being an amazing poet laureate and really setting the bar for the future and really just exploding poetry for Houston. And I'm excited to see what she has to do, because she's not stopping. She hits the ground running, so after she gets done with her tenure as poet laureate, she probably has 15 more projects lined up and ready to go. So I'm excited to see where her future takes her. And thank you again, Deep, for being such a fascinating and fantastic poet laureate for our city.
Thank you. And so also this evening, I would like to welcome to the mic, maybe not the stage, but a huge supporter of the arts, a tireless advocate for the people of Houston, and the U.S. representative of for Texas's 18th Congressional District, Sheila Jackson Lee. Regrettably, she's not physically here with us this evening, but she did want to say a few words via phone tonight. So we'll take a few minutes to bring her voice to the mic.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Sheila Jackson Lee.
Hello to everyone that is there and to this wonderful, wonderful literary genius and very special personality, Deborah D. Mouton. Let me congratulate you and offer my apologies for not being able to be with you this evening, but I really wanted you to hear my voice of appreciation. One, that you do one of the highest callings of this nation, and that is that you teach. And then you tell the stories, not only of yourself, but your students and the people around you. You tell the story of America. You tell the story of those who are in need. And I am grateful for that. For America is nothing without her arts and her ability to communicate in a free and unfettered way. I am delighted that the University of Houston Downtown Department and Cultural Enrichment Center have given you this opportunity and forum, and I look forward to having the opportunity to meet you and interact with you and your art. Thank you for the poetry that you've done regarding immigration. As you well know, I face the challenges of those who are undocumented every day, and I see the pain and yet the joy that they have as a family. I know that you know of the story of Laura Maradiego, beautiful little 11-year-old. And so telling those kinds of stories are special. I know the audience will look forward to hearing you today, and it is my privilege to be able to proclaim and to indicate that the Congress of the United States appreciates your leadership and your art and your talent. Keep on speaking to us through poetry and keep on telling the truth. Thank you all very much. To those who commemorate Easter, happy Easter to you. Those who commemorate and celebrate Passover, happy Passover. And may God bless you. God bless the University of Houston Downtown and all. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you, Deborah. Congratulations.
And on behalf of the Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, we have a proclamation, a congressional proclamation that we'll like to
I know. Make sure you're on that.
It usually does it on his own at this time, right? Okay. I actually had the honor to meet Deborah at an event, and she was able to read a poem that I was actually really touched. So I look forward to listening to you tonight. And on behalf of the Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, please accept this certificate of recognition from her.
Thank you.
hosted Poetry Fest, and she is the author of a collection of poems titled In Between Space. Please welcome Rayla Crawford.
Just a reminder, we haven't forgotten about Trayvon Martin, or the blues sung from the muddy waters in Flint, or how your silence rushed in quicker than the water when Baton Rouge and New Orleans were drowning, or the Charleston church that went from hallelujah to hollow. Just a reminder, Eric Gardner said he couldn't breathe 11 times. We haven't forgotten about Sandra Bland, Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, or the other 278 unjust black deaths that happened that year. Just a reminder, Tamar Rice was a child on a playground. How could we forget Officer Daniel Holtzclaw, who raped 13 black women that he called poor, easy targets? Or the officer who body slammed a minor at her own pool party? How can we forget the 5 nooses hung on college campuses? Because white fraternities still don't want no niggas. Did you forget about the 278 bodies buried at the top of this poem? You see, it is not easy for us to forget. Why is it for you?
South Central Los Angeles. 2 children playing news. Josh kneels behind a makeshift cardboard desk. His 9-year-old legs finding it awkward to bend into childhood. Within reach, a yellow play school tape recorder. Inside, a cassette labeled Summertime Jams. MC Hammer, Ace of Base, recording tabs taped up. At the ready for erasing and re-recording, Josh broadcast. Breaking news. Today, a house built by my own 2 hands went up in a ball of flames. Inside, a brave G.I. Joe tried to save babysitter Barbie, but it was too late. Tearjerker. Now let's go to you, Amanla, in the field. Amanla, his sister, 5, pushes flower barrettes from her forehead, spoon microphone clings to her chin. Today, the jump rope record was broken again, 20 times and counting. I did it, I'm the vet. Josh interrupts. Says not news, too naive, doesn't have all the facts, can't see what's important. Among the storms out, table shutters under silent weight, whispers, I'm gonna tell. Now live from the field, cutouts spilling from cupped hands, watch as the story lights.
I have felt the weather changing, seen the falling leaves painting the sidewalk in mosaic of autumn as a transplanted Texan. These hoof-printed falls only remind me of one thing, and this year, I heard, the government is opening hunting season early. Now, you know, hunters need 2 things to be successful: a good dog and a good gun. Gotta have something to sniff and some way to shoot. It's important to get as close to your target as humanly possible. Make sure they can't see you clearly. This can be tricky. Hunting through the thicket and the cloak of night offer easy solutions now. There's no use in standing on top of a hill, watching surrounding pastures and bushy banks if they're out of range. No, a better location is just inside the hood, I mean woods. So that if a boy, I mean buck approaches, you can move back and stalk through cover. Now this can take years to perfect. I spotted one once, dark fur, oversized antlers, say the ones whose pelt sags just below their waist have the most tender innards. This one looked injured, dip when you walk, hand holding his private like somebody already took a shot at him, looks under 35, that's good. Get them too old, they might have learned how to run, might have learned how to keep quiet and invisible. They say the most popular attractant is corn, but I've learned flashy jewelry, loud music do the trick. Want a guaranteed kill? Use some paper money. You can also purchase a call. One sounds like a like a mother's voice screaming out to Jesus. The ringing of Sean's wedding bells. The last one sounds like a sweet young girl whispering, I love you. Anything that sounds familiar or offers false hope. Once you got them in your crosshairs, aim right under the hoodie. Stand your ground, shoot and kill, invite a friend, tell them we don't shoot to eat, we hunt for the fun of the sport. Let's see how many rounds we can put in him before his knees buckle, before his family comes looking for him. You know, the younger it is we catch him, the more likely it is he'll make the news. Picture us standing next to his 145-pound body like the catch of a lifetime. We could be legends like Irwin v. Crocodile or Flood v. Duck or Police v. Every black body. It's human nature. The more dominant species assert themselves over the one who posed the greatest threat. That's how we define a hero here in this thicket and this brush. They can try to camouflage themselves, but nothing that young, that black, that male will ever fit in. I followed one for 19 blocks. And my canine sniffed out his blackberry scent. Didn't have my shotgun, so I just shot till my gun was empty. I wore his skin like a Halloween costume. They say the darker the hide, the sweeter the blood. And this year, I heard the government is waiving fees for permits. All you need is a rifle, a motive, a good hiding place. Try an alley next to a low-performing high school. Don't have one? Use your own front yard. Plant a hedge, stand in plain sight. Remember, if they come near you, it's only defending yourself. This is the circle of life. Somebody gotta be predator. Something, someone always gotta pray. First time around the block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Feet syncopate hopscotch under ripe street lights. Sun crawls down the backside of the mountain. We sand our hands in 4 squares on rubber balls. We bounce Sally Walker and a cool drink of Kool-Aid. Powdered in sugar Ziplocs, so all parts of our mouths stained. Cherry, rebel, defiant. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Streets so alive in LA. Don't nobody want the night to come, just want the day forever. Run like highway, turn ourselves invisible when mama calls. Don't take that ball all angry, the boy they done left you, boy. That street light not hot yet. Ignore the glow for the sting of pop rocks in our cheeks and big league tire in our shoe. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 this time. When mama calls, seems more ambulance in her throat, more flashing lights in her eyes, more than just halogen flickering bulb on concrete. She says our names like they are blood moons on a clear sky that no one wants to see. Like a routine turned into red mouth outcry, a frenzy of our shadowy feet cockroaching from the asphalt towards our mother's arms, unaware. 5, 4, 3, 2, run. The unknowing left that night. We watched their feet turn Rodney soccer ball. Police no longer the place to run when lost. Police run longer or be a lost place. Colored lips gushing a bloody drink. More thirsty for the darkness than the sun. And we, a chalk outline number, needing to be stomped. Forgive me, one of my page markers came off. All right? You got it. I didn't understand the phrase chicken with its head cut off until you. They called you bird. Envied your strut round town enough to wrangle it into a pickup bed. A ride to coop, another name for slaughter. To behead a bird should be the most humane execution. Wrung your neck against a blind culvert. You molted over 3 miles before they realized you weren't even alive. Just a headless shell of plumage strewn over skid-marked asphalt, exhaust defeathered your limbs. When they dropped you in the mouth of this cemetery, I began to crave monster, a delicacy for the draggable. My father's father would grab us by the feet, tickle until the laughter would stream from us. My father's rendition was to trap us between his legs and arrest our lungs in the suspension of how, double us over on the floor until we swore the wind wasn't in us. There was a father on the corner when the CDs dropped. A snigger caught sneaking bread piece, no foul cry, no stop in sight until the cops remembered theirs, brought the night early, held him until he cried, until his feet found no ground, collapsed, deflated, a father in fable, his oxen blue face. And we watched, and we watched. I can't breathe. I cried, a sea of black youth would never grow into a father of anything. The time we were thugs. Half a country away at college, a mama receives a call from back home. Mother. She says that she and father are okay. They are okay. Says they were stopped tonight on the back road behind the church after service. After father gave the benediction, a blessing to hold for the entire week, Christmas play rehearsal went well. Everyone was memorized. They are okay. Mother says she swears. Mother never swears. The officers saw the car, the cocaine white Lincoln on white walls, heavy in the back for the weight of a boy, one with a cap who lived close. They offered him a ride home. The fog thick in those parts. They drove slowly with no rush to be anywhere. Father now a senior citizen and mother with the top of the hill in sight. They thought they were a gang from the rearview window. Dreads, afro, baseball cap cocked over do-rag like the local bangers. Too calm to be trusted. After following them for blocks, lights flash on when they cross into unincorporated pairs. Both doors swung open simultaneously, guns drawn. Mother and father's hands were all you could see, blinded by the flashlights, the doors rocking on their hinges, a livid breath held until the truth rose its head. Father said he was a member of cops and clergy. Father said he was the chaplain of the fire department. They asked him for his ID. Then, they are a stuttering apology, a warning that a taillight can be a death sentence. Mother says they are okay. They buckled in tighter amidst the thinning air and wood grain, saying, "We shall overcome," in a reaching silence. The boy made it home to his grandmother. Amanda clenches the phone tighter. She has studied for this test before. Saying "I'm okay" over and over again is the only way to breathe. The pact. Slit your wrist now. Blend your broken with mine. Us be family. Have a pact. Sealed in blood. You'll do it. Whichever of us they come for next won't run or cower. See the red scope on you? See how your chest welcomes the sniper's round? Know how much black power lives in blackout. We can't shy away. Cut deep into darkness, round the tendons and muscles inside your cheek. Kiss me. Death has a badge and a reason to brandish. Hurry, this urgency is a now kind of thing. We all gotta go sometime now. It's promised more swiftly. It's now or now. We don't know, no never. Speak our names. Say we are the same or fuck us. I hope it's you, just so it ain't me. They will try to sell you the myth of my lips, that I talked myself into more trouble than my color could let me live through. Try to convince you I knew how to chameleon into 2 hours of camera feed static with my own hands, mistook myself for Hera, dangled myself from gold chain plastic bags. They will try to say I was quicksand. Too much Texas mud, not enough blind obey, my character, a tin can on a backwood fence. Tell them I never sat still enough to be anyone's easy target. Tell them I have never been able to stretch my lips wide enough to swallow myself whole this time. The body in the cell had no holy water for spit, but had more God in her than the Bible. Bells make them wince my name until it echoes indictment. Teach them we have always been black magic, never intended to...
The time we shook to death. In the stretch of I-10 from Baton Rouge to Houston, Vider. Historical Bermuda Triangle for all things black. Husband and Amanda rushing back to watch their children rise for school. The lights flick on just past city limits. Trains now, after Philando. Amanda knows the drill. Hands on dash, head bowed, window cracked just enough to be audible. Phone landscape to cover the widest terrain. Mothers are supposed to shield their children's eyes when their fathers expire before them. Her children are asleep in their own beds with their hands itched to press their lids close harder. She sees him laid before her, his last breath brushed across her cheek. The officer shines in on her hand, tells her, all of that is not necessary. Yes, she says, it is. She talks loud and clear for the transcript to come. He runs his hand across the butt of his gun, then disappears. She and her husband are two branches to the same road. She takes fear, he takes resolve. Ask her why is she so afraid? He has reconciled death is ordained with godly timing. She prays not to know God this way. The officer returns with a warning for driving on the left too long. He tells them to get right, drives away. Amanda shakes through hours of alternate endings. His hand in hers, pulse elevated. Highways and moonlight, how we tremble together. This, the way we love.
Poetry, as you saw, has engendered unconventional collaborations with groups as disparate as the Houston Rockets and the Houston Ballet. Her work has been featured on NPR, the BBC, and the TEDx circuit. And an opera for which she wrote the libretto premieres at the Houston Grand Opera in the spring of 2020.
And we friends, y'all. Did y'all enjoy the work?
I have notes, but I might just wing it.
It's okay.
How you feeling?
I'm tired. But it's a good time. It's a spank yourself, it's a gauge yourself time, so it's a necessary one.
Good. So, yeah, I mean, you're tired, but what other sort of thoughts and emotions, coming here tonight to the culmination of this book, from thinking about where you started and how this book began as a thought, as a hope, as a dream, as a poem, to now the full completion, kind of, where are you, what's it like, what's going through your mind, what?
I'm happy to hear so many responses from the audience as the pieces are coming forward. And I know a lot of it is my loud slam family, but it's good. It's still really good to kind of hear, the gasp or the oohs, the ahs. I feel like having people connect with the work in a very emotional and visceral way is what I hoped for, and so it's just really fun to see it happen.
And what was that like to be from sort of the conception to this final moment? Was it a book project idea that you had, or did it start with like a poem or two, and then you're like, oh, I see where this is going? Or kind of what was your process?
No, the work, all of the poems fell out of me in about 6 months, right? So it was this very like pulling at me, almost like vomiting out poems. And I think it just had to do with what was happening at the time. 2015, we just saw body after body after body after body, and in the same way, I think the poems kind of fell out of me. And then kind of sitting with them and being able to like take a moment and say, one, at some point in time, I have to stop, right? Like that's the thing about a book, is that it cannot be a never-ending book that every time you buy it, there's more poems in it. I mean, I guess it could, but I think Kate and Pooh would be really mad at me if I had a new edition every time they printed. But kind of having some markers for myself, so I decided to start really close with Rodney King and to end at Sandra Bland, who happened 30 miles outside my back door. And thinking of like how being so physically close to those things, they maybe resonated with me differently than watching a video, and it kind of being at my control to stop how much I was willing to intake.
And did you find, because I do notice within the book there were some, what I call sort of like autobiographical type poems, right, versus more of these poems of witness. And did you find that process was different, more challenging, or maybe even like which one was harder? Was it more of those autobiographical pieces, or was it poetry of witness that you found?
They were even. I think the beauty of being able to talk, the beauty and the danger, right, is the problem is that all of us have these experiences, unfortunately, or at least some of us who look like something all have these experiences, right? I think for me it was saying that I can't just paint the picture about this thing that happens far away from us when it happens to me. I can't paint the picture of this fear that lives in everyone but not acknowledge the fear that lives in me, right? Those things had to be accounted for, and so when I started, they were actually police reports, right? Just full on, like I wrote them in a very journalistic, like objective way, and I think it lost a little bit of the emotional connection that I had in those moments. And so you'll see, moments with my mother and my father. You'll see moments with my brother. You'll see moments with my husband, my kids.
And then friends,
friends, me and myself.
Jeremiah shows up.
Yeah, Jeremiah and Dean show up in the book.
Named, not
named. Yeah, why not put the names in there? But I think there's something about being able to name those people because they're familiar, right? And because even if you don't know them, you do. And so there was something about being able to put my own experience in there that I actually found a good bit of joy in, being able to say that this is not just a story that I'm going to witness and tell, but this is a story that I live and tell. And there's a place for both of those things in this manuscript, or in this book.
Yeah.
It's a manuscript still. It's a book.
It's a book.
I need to say book.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what was your, why choose that? And how do you differentiate between when you're going to use a form versus free verse, which some people argue is a form. Yes, it is. Right, but more like strict forms like a haibun or a sonnet versus kind of just writing and seeing what happens.
I think for me, the beauty of the haibun is this lasting refrain that lives with you, right? Where it's like if you didn't get all the rest of it, here are 3 lines that are sum up for you to kind of leave with you, right? Take this. Right, if nothing else. So I think specifically that form did that for me. I think you'll find a form throughout the book, and where I thought about it was really just like in honoring the form, right? If it's a sonnet, what is the love? And what is the love surrounding? Like, why does it need to be capped off with this couple, right? Like, why does this form make sense here? For some, it was definitely like I wrote the poem 3 or 4 times in 3 or 4 different forms, and I was like, I don't like none of these. And then this other thing worked really well, and I was like, ooh, I like that, let's keep that, let's do that. But I think the haibuns for me did a really great job of taking the place of kind of those police reports. And allowing me to play in prose, which I write prose, I write stories, right? I write fiction, I write creative nonfiction and memoir, so to be able to let this book be the hybrid of all of those experiences, and let the work say how I wanted to be presented instead of me feeling like I had to live inside someone else's box, right? Which I'm not about. So I think that's what form did for me, right? It let me be able to say, this poem wants to be a sonnet, and so I'm going to let it sing that way. And so that's why.
Yeah, and within the haibun, I noticed, because that was part of the other question, I got sidetracked, but this idea that how you talked about there's some autobiographical aspects, but then there's also some more lyrical and some, maybe metaphorical, or like you took some creative liberties. And so how did you decide to make those leaps, or to stick to the truth, right? Or like emotional truth versus factual truth? Like, what was the process there?
Yeah, I don't know that I had a process, to be honest with you. This is the part where, like, I know in your classes people tell you that, like, writers went into things and they have, like, all these thoughts. No. Sometimes it just, it just comes out that way. And I think for me, my husband will tell you every fight he gets into with me, he says that he loses because I start speaking in poems. To a slam, I'm gonna lose. I'm not a poet. It's not fair. Okay? And so I think that that's kind of what happened is as I began to write and craft things, the metaphor, I speak metaphorically, right? So the metaphor made sense. If you've ever talked to me, I talk in extremely vivid detail for no reason, right? What's the reason? Because I saw it that way, right? I noticed everything on People Watcher, and so I think that that's kind of how the book kind of fell into that same pattern.
Yeah, and so you mentioned this idea of sort of like hybrid genre and the hybrid being able to do that for you. But then also tonight with the performers, with the dancers and the performances, it sort of became like a hybrid book launch, right? And so what was your decision in doing that? What kind of drove you to that point?
That's performance. One, I couldn't get here and do an academic reading. As much as academic readings are necessary, right? I'm not talking bad about them.
Are you?
But no, I'm not. Like they work for some people. They just don't work for me. I'm a performer. I feel like it's putting shackles on me, right? To stand behind the podium and just read. Doesn't work. But more than that, I started thinking about having a background that's so specific to competitive poetry and to slam. And this idea that I always have to be centered at this microphone, or plant your feet, all the things I tell people that I coach. This is not a space where I have to do that, right? I can take all the time, right? We can linger in one word, like viter, right? Which everybody has this immediate reaction to in ways I never realized they were going to do it till the first time I read the piece. And I said viter right to a room full of people who were not of color, and everybody gasped. And I was like, there's something universal here that says, Texas knows viter, right? We know viter, you know. And so I think being able to give space for that, and to say that sometimes maybe not seeing me is the best thing, right? Maybe sometimes allowing the dancers to come in, which I'll say, shout outs to Harrison guy. And I'm gonna give him a little too. The process for us was literally, I read the poems into a document and I gave them to Harrison. And Harrison created, independent of me. And then he came back with it and we talked, like we got to see what happened. And so I think there's something beautiful in that process that says the art can be experienced by someone else and can still come back and reverberate the same way. That, I think, was as much a part of how I wanted to present it. That collaboration was as much as like what the work wanted to do. I wanted to see what happens when the work lives in someone else's hands and how do they interpret it, how do they embody it. And so that's what he gave me the pleasure of being able to do it.
Round of applause for How do you hope that this book, that Newsworthy, will contribute to or change the narrative of Black lives in America and police brutality against Black bodies?
Yeah, I think talking about police brutality is the thing we talk about when there's not a bigger thing to talk about. Right? That's how we catalog it, right? Like, when there's no other big news, we'll go back to talking about America's problems, right? Like on a very local, everyday, dangerous threat level. I really wish that we could head towards solutions, right? And I often say, every police officer is not the problem. I don't hate police officers, right? I have a traumatic relationship with police officers. They've proven themselves time and time again that they tend to act in certain ways that make me a little hesitant. And so I think that us being able to uncover that and to talk about the systematic problems, right? We want to talk about these things like they're this one event. No, this is a system of watching it for 10, 20, 30 years that we grow up watching and see that our lives are in danger even when they're not immediately. And we have to talk about undoing that system, right? And until we decide to start putting some things in place that reform and undo that system, we're going to keep telling this narrative. So I hope that Newsworthy starts that solution-geared mindset that says, no, this is not just that's your kid over there that did this one thing, but says it could be any of our children or ourselves today, and really starts gearing towards coming up with a solution for it.
And lastly, because I'm going to be that key reporter, tell us about your outfit.
It took some Googling right now. So I was like, how can I want to be fly. And so then I was like, what if I was just dressed in a newspaper, right? So I started Googling and I found this dress that of course wasn't made for big girls, but that's okay. Right. And then I found this one at Stein Mart of all places, right? I don't shop at Stein Mart at all, like ever. But for some reason, so I was like, there's a Stein Mart down the street. I wonder, I'm gonna go run over here. And sure enough, they had like 2 of them left. And I put it on, I was like, oh yeah, that's it. Yeah. And then the earrings I got from a designer on Etsy, I really wanted something that centered around the African American diaspora, but also like paints an image, and so it's actually a face of a woman, right? The idea that like I carry these stories just like I carry the people behind the stories with me. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I put it together.
So is there anything else, so who kind of helped you bring this all together? Any last acknowledgements you want to
You? Honestly, y'all, it's like Lupe and Jasmine were like one of the first people to read this book, told me a whole bunch of stuff was wrong, told me a whole bunch of stuff was right. Right? Like, I think I have a really great circle. I also want to take like a minute to thank people for real. Oh, wait, watch this. Okay, so I'm all about giving people like their flowers while they're alive to smell them. Yeah, that's cool.
It's love, it's love.
And so I made a little stop on the way tonight. And there's a couple people who I just want to say some special shout outs to. The first one, yes, you know, because you see I'm struggling. The first one is going to be, I already mentioned him a little bit earlier, but yeah, it's not coming out. What's going on? Yeah, let's work together. We work together. Yeah, I know it's work together, Chad, and I'm working on it, okay? Okay, first one is going to be Harrison Guy. Who's her name? You will not know. I don't know if you might have no direction, but I didn't give you none. And so, just for being willing to like take my crazy idea and run with it all the way, and to coordinate all of that, we'll struggle, you can see. Okay, there's multiple words in hands. This is what happens when y'all buy flowers on Fanny. I'm just gonna tell y'all that. I'm not from the store, that was really what you're saying. Okay, that is it.
I know where you went too.
I don't have, no. So, thank you so much. Thank you. I know this is like the last time we work together. And to each of your dancers, you have your dancers come on here. These lovely bodies right here, y'all. Now, we need to get up together. So you put in talent, and then love, where's Myra? Myra, I have known since I moved to Houston, and I've always been with this girl. Thank y'all so much. Thank you. Alright, so, a couple more people. I called 2 people like 2 days ago, and I was like, I want to put y'all in this show. And they were like, what? And I was like, yes. So we practiced today, and it worked out well. And I just want to shout out to Monica Davidson and to Brandon Shadow.
I got a pocket full of balls.
Of course, Rayla Crawford for kicking off the Thank you for Rayla. Jane, you're all the way up there, but y'all look back up there at the top. Jane, I will give you a call every time you know. Jane opened the space to us, and she made room for us in ways that she will never know how much it made, and I thank you, Jane. I really thank you. I now have a couple, two more left. I'm not going to do this for long, I promise. I want to thank to my parents. Y'all, I love you. This is not for you, though. But I love you. I think my father's home and love and everything. My husband, I love you. And my kids, I love y'all. And my mama, I love you. I love all y'all. Except y'all. There are 2 people who, this book was a manuscript for 4 years. Right? And I shopped it around, and I believed in it, and I believed in it, and I believed all of it in it. But these 2 people believed in it and took it to fruition. And they will never know how much it meant for them to just say, I believe in you. This is worthwhile. We want to push this forward. To run with me, to listen to me complain, to answer my texts and my phone calls about the most random things like, I don't like that word. Right? Because y'all know me. Right? And so I want to give it up to the Blues Day staff. Because we're believing in this and seeing this through.
And there's probably a million more people I could thank. I thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight. But I know those people believed in this more than I ever would, and I thank you so much. You don't even know. You don't even know. Okay, I'm done, Jasmine.
Alright, so in order to have this happen in an orderly fashion, if you already bought your book and would like to have your book autographed by the wonderful Mrs. Deborah D. Mouton, then you will please come to your left, my stage.